Gentleman's time has expired. We'll now go to Mr. Casten of Illinois for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. McHenry. Pleasure to see you, Madam Secretary. I want to touch on a couple things, but the first, I don't know if you had a chance, and it doesn't matter if you read it or not, there was a CBO report that came out on January 18th about demographic trends in the United States. It's been rattling in my head for a while, and this I think it was 2 weeks ago, but it said, among other things, that net immigration, which some of my colleagues have mentioned, is running twice as high as was expected, and that the population of folks immigrating to the United States are, unsurprisingly, overwhelmingly of working age, 25 to 54. This sort of demographic trend that I think is the kind of thing that keeps Tucker Carlson awake at night, that our population is aging and our country is getting more diverse. But what I'm wondering if you could speak to is the conversation with Mr. Vargas. We talked about the fact that this economy is doing things that economies aren't normally supposed to do. GDP is rising. We keep creating jobs. Unemployment rates keep falling. And how much of that is directly attributable to the fact that our workforce is growing so much faster than we anticipated?
Well, part of it is due to the fact that labor force participation has increased.
I don't mean just the participation rate, though, the actual number of workers.
Yeah, I mean, partly it is immigration, but it's also, we're seeing a big pickup in adult labor force participation in the aftermath of the pandemic. Perhaps some of that, some of it is the availability of jobs, which has been amazing, and some of it is the ability to work at least partially from home, maybe drawing people into the labor force who otherwise wouldn't do so. But that's one way in which we continue. Just the last 3 months, we have an average of 290,000 jobs a month being created, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah, I think about a comment that Jay Powell said, I think a year ago, that he said the growing workforce, not just workforce participation, the growing workforce was helping to rebalance the economy. I think his words was that it was tilted too much in the favor of workers. I know some workers who might disagree, but nonetheless, seems to be there. You had mentioned in your discussion with Mr. Vargas that where our growth on all these metrics, from GDP to job creation, recovery from COVID, is outpacing all of our other peers. Mentioned Japan being an exception that famously is not as open to immigration as some other countries.
That is true.
And maybe it's too soon to say this, but can you speak to what the United States has done that has led to our outperformance relative to other industrialized economies since COVID?
We have supported the economy in difficult times, and particularly the households and workers who are most affected through programs including the American Rescue Program that made sure we didn't have permanent scarring of individuals who lost their jobs and remained out of work and maybe discouraged and essentially scarred to the point where they can't participate in the workforce. We made sure people had a roof over their heads and food on the table, helped them take care of their children, provided emergency rental assistance, and then put in place a series of programs as the economy, as people got back to work, that are investing in people. The bipartisan infrastructure program, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the IRA are stimulating tremendous amount of investment and creation of good jobs, especially in parts of the country that haven't seen opportunity for a long time.
I think we've got a lot on this side of the dais and in your office, a lot to be proud of what we did to go through. And maybe we can follow up offline. When so much of the growth in working age population is from the foreign-born population, and when so much of the conversation over here on the Hill is using immigration as a political football, I want to make sure we don't cut off our nose to spite our face and understand how that contributes.
I agree. I think it's been a plus.
I see I'm out of time. I had wanted to follow up with you on the FIO and climate risk, but I'll follow up with you offline on that one. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you.